The starship floated quietly through the endless darkness of space. Its surface shimmered faintly as it reflected the light of distant stars. Inside, Alex Carter sat at his station in the communications bay of Haven 7, a small human colony on the edge of explored space. His eyes were fixed on the screen in front of him. A strange signal had appeared, weak and unclear, buried under layers of static. At first, he thought it was just interference, but then he heard it, a faint voice repeating the same words over and over again. "Help us, help us." Alex leaned closer to the console, his heart racing. He adjusted the frequency, trying to clean up the sound. The message wasn't in any language he recognized at first, but the translation software quickly decoded it into simple, chilling words. "Help us." It was coming from somewhere far away, beyond the boundaries of known space. He stood up quickly and ran to find Commander Laura Hayes. She was the leader of Haven 7's small fleet, and if anyone could decide what to do, it was her. When she arrived in the communications bay, Alex showed her the signal. Her sharp eyes studied the data for a moment before she spoke. "Where is this coming from?" she asked. Alex pointed to a blinking dot on the star map displayed above his desk. "It's coming from the Kalian Expanse," he said. "That area is dangerous. There are asteroid fields, radiation storms, and no safe routes." Laura frowned. The Kalian Expanse was uncharted territory, a place where ships rarely went because of its hazards. But the message tugged at her sense of duty. If someone, or something, was out there asking for help, how could they ignore it? Humanity had survived many challenges because others had helped them. Now, perhaps it was their turn to offer aid. She called Lieutenant Ryan Cole, her trusted advisor, to discuss the situation. Together, they debated the risks. Sending ships into such a dangerous region would leave Haven 7 vulnerable, but ignoring the call felt wrong. After hours of discussion, Laura made her decision. "We'll send a small fleet," she said firmly. "Only volunteers." The news spread quickly among the colonists. Some thought it was reckless to go into an unknown and dangerous area for strangers who might not even exist. Others, however, stepped forward eagerly. Captain Leah Thompson, a brave and skilled pilot, volunteered to lead the mission aboard the Eagle's Claw *, one of 3 ships chosen for the task. The other 2 ships, the Iron Resolve * and the Stellar Dawn *, would join her, each carrying crews ready to face whatever lay ahead. Preparations began immediately. Supplies were packed, engines checked, and weapons loaded. No one knew what they might encounter in the Kalian Expanse, so every detail was carefully planned. As the countdown to departure approached, Alex couldn't shake the feeling that this mission would change everything, for better or worse. Finally, the day came. The fleet launched into the vast emptiness of space, leaving behind the safety of Haven 7. From the cockpit of the Eagle's Claw *, Mia watched the colony grow smaller until it vanished completely. Ahead of them lay the unknown, filled with both hope and danger. Somewhere out there was a cry for help, and possibly answers to questions no one had yet dared to ask. As the ships moved deeper into the expanse, strange things began to happen. Navigation systems started to fail, and eerie silences replaced the usual background noise of space. Still, the crew pressed on, driven by a mix of duty and curiosity. Whatever waited for them, they were determined to find out. The fleet moved deeper into the Kalian Expanse, its ships gliding silently through the endless blackness. The Eagle's Claw *, led by Captain Leah Thompson, was at the front, flanked by the Iron Resolve * and the Stellar Dawn *. The crew worked hard to keep the ship steady, but strange things kept happening. Navigation systems flickered on and off, and the usual hum of space seemed muted, replaced by an unsettling silence. It felt as though the expanse itself was watching them. On the bridge of the Eagle's Claw *, Mia stared out of the large viewport. Her hands gripped the edge of the control panel as she tried to stay focused. The ship's sensors had picked up something unusual, a massive object drifting among a dense field of asteroids. It was shaped like a jagged crescent moon, with parts of it glowing faintly in eerie blue and green hues. It didn't look like anything human-made. "Is that it?" Maya asked aloud, her voice steady but tinged with unease. Jake Harper, the pilot, adjusted the ship's scanners and nodded. "That's the source of the signal," he confirmed. "It matches the description of the alien vessel." Sophie Bennett, the medic, stood nearby, clutching a medical kit. She glanced nervously at the glowing ship. "Do you think anyone's still alive over there?" she asked. Mia hesitated before answering. "We're here to find out. But we need to be careful. Something about this feels off." Lieutenant Ryan Cole, who had joined the mission aboard the Iron Resolve Asterisk, contacted the fleet via comms. His voice crackled through the speakers. "Commander Hayes wants us to maintain defensive positions while sending a boarding party to investigate. We'll cover you from a distance." Mia agreed and quickly assembled a team. Alongside Jake and Sophie, she chose 2 other crew members, Eric Dawson, a quiet but skilled engineer, and Lisa Grant, a sharp-eyed security officer. They suited up in protective gear, checking their oxygen levels and communication devices one last time before stepping into the airlock. As the boarding party left the Eagle's Claw in a small shuttle, they approached the alien ship cautiously. Its surface was covered in strange patterns that seemed to shift under the light of their shuttle's beams. The closer they got, the more uneasy they felt. The ship looked damaged, with sections of its hull torn open and exposed wires sparking faintly. Once they docked, the team stepped onto the alien vessel. The air inside was cold and stale, making their breath fog up their visors. The walls were made of a material that seemed both metallic and organic, pulsing faintly as if alive. Strange symbols glowed along the corridors, casting long shadows. "This place gives me the creeps," Sophie whispered, clutching her medical kit tighter. "Stay focused," Maya said firmly. "We're looking for survivors, or answers." They moved carefully, their footsteps echoing in the silence. Soon, they found signs of life. In one room, they discovered 3 insect-like creatures lying motionless on the floor. Their bodies were covered in shimmering exoskeletons, and their multiple limbs twitched weakly. One of them opened its large, multifaceted eyes and let out a soft clicking sound. Jake activated the translation software on his wrist device. After a moment, the creature's clicks turned into broken words. "Help. Predator. Hunts us." "What predator?" Maya asked urgently, kneeling beside the creature. The alien struggled to speak. "Came. From dark. Took our people." It paused, its body trembling. "You must leave. Danger." Before they could ask more questions, the lights in the corridor flickered, plunging the room into darkness. The team froze, their flashlights cutting through the gloom. A low, guttural growl echoed somewhere in the distance, sending chills down their spines. "We need to get out of here," Lisa said, gripping her weapon tightly. Mia nodded. "Grab the survivors and head back to the shuttle. Now." As they lifted the injured aliens onto stretchers, the growling grew louder, closer. Whatever was hunting these creatures was still on board. And it knew they were there. The team moved quickly, their hearts pounding as they retraced their steps toward the docking bay. But the shadows around them seemed to shift unnaturally, as if something was stalking them in the dark. The mission had just begun, but already it was clear they were in far greater danger than they had anticipated. The boarding party moved as quickly as they could, their footsteps echoing in the dimly lit corridors of the alien ship. The growling sound grew louder, closer, each step they took. Shadows danced on the walls, though no one could tell if it was from their flashlights or something else moving just beyond their sight. Maya led the way, her eyes scanning the darkness for any sign of movement. "Stay close," she said sharply, her voice tense but calm. "We don't know what's following us." Behind her, Jake and Sophie carried one of the injured insectoid aliens on a stretcher. Eric and Lisa brought up the rear, their weapons ready. The air felt heavier now, pressing down on them like an invisible weight. The ship itself seemed alive, its organic walls pulsing faintly as if breathing. Every creak and groan made the team flinch, their nerves stretched thin. As they reached a wide intersection, Lisa held up a hand. "Wait," she whispered. Her sharp eyes scanned the shadows ahead. "Something's not right." Before anyone could react, a deep roar echoed through the corridor. It came from everywhere and nowhere at once, shaking the very floor beneath their feet. The team froze, their flashlights darting around wildly. Then, without warning, a massive shape lunged out of the darkness. It was unlike anything they had ever seen. Towering and sleek, the creature had long, clawed limbs and glowing red eyes that burned with intelligence. Its body shimmered, almost blending into the shadows before solidifying again. For a moment, it stood there, studying them with cold precision. "Move!" Mia shouted, snapping everyone out of their shock. The team bolted down the corridor, the creature giving chase. Its claws scraped against the walls as it moved with terrifying speed, closing the distance between them. Sophie stumbled under the weight of the stretcher, but Jake caught her before she fell. They pushed forward, adrenaline driving them despite their exhaustion. Up ahead, Eric called out, pointing to a set of large doors leading to the docking bay. "That's our way out." Lisa fired her weapon at the creature, the shots hitting its chest but doing little damage. It roared in anger, the sound reverberating through the narrow passage. "Keep moving," she yelled, reloading her weapon. "I'll hold it off." "No," Mia barked. "We're not leaving anyone behind. Stick together." They reached the doors, which hissed open slowly as if reluctant to let them through. The team slipped inside, dragging the stretchers with them. Behind them, the creature hesitated at the threshold, its glowing eyes narrowing as if sensing some kind of barrier. It let out another guttural roar before retreating into the shadows. Breathing heavily, the team locked the doors behind them and hurried toward their shuttle. Jake and Eric worked quickly to secure the injured aliens inside while Mia and Lisa kept watch, their weapons trained on the doorway. Sophie stayed with the survivors, checking their vitals and administering what little medical aid she could. "What was that thing?" Sophie asked, her voice trembling. She glanced back at the locked doors, half expecting the creature to burst through at any moment. "I don't know," Mia admitted, her jaw tight. "But whatever it is, it doesn't belong here. And it's hunting these creatures for a reason." Once the injured aliens were safely aboard, the team climbed into the shuttle and prepared for takeoff. As the engines roared to life, the lights in the docking bay flickered again, casting eerie shadows across the walls. For a brief moment, the glowing eyes of the creature reappeared in the darkness, watching them leave. Back aboard the Eagle's Claw Asterisk, Commander Laura Hayes listened intently as Mia reported what had happened. The other ships remained on high alert, their weapon systems powered up and ready. Laura's face was grim as she processed the information. "You did well getting out alive," she said finally. "But we need answers. If that thing is still on board that ship, or worse, if there are more of them, we can't leave this area without understanding what we're dealing with." Mia nodded, though her mind was racing. The mission had started as a simple rescue operation, but now it felt like they were facing something far bigger and far deadlier than they had anticipated. Whatever secrets the alien ship held, they were tied to the mysterious SOS signal, and uncovering those secrets might mean risking everything. The shuttle docked with the Eagle's Claw Asterisk, and the boarding party quickly transferred the injured aliens to the medical bay. Sophie worked tirelessly, her hands moving deftly as she checked their wounds and hooked them up to monitors. The insectoid creatures were weak but alive, their breathing shallow and uneven. Despite their alien appearance, there was something fragile about them, like they had been through horrors no one should endure. Maya stood nearby, watching silently as Sophie worked. Her mind replayed the chase through the alien ship, The growls, the glowing eyes, the way the creature seemed to melt into the shadows. It wasn't just a predator. It was intelligent, and it knew they were there. "We need to figure out what that thing is," Maya said finally, breaking the silence. She turned to Jake, who was reviewing the data they had collected during the mission. "Did we get anything useful from the alien ship?" Jake nodded, pulling up a holographic display on his wrist device. "Some of the symbols we scanned might be a language. I've sent the data to Alex back on Haven 7. He's running it through the translation software, but it'll take time." "What about the SOS signal?" Maya asked. "Can we trace its origin beyond the ship?" "I'm working on it," Jake replied, his brow furrowed in concentration. "But the signal's fragmented. It's like whoever sent it was desperate, maybe even trying to warn others about that thing." Sophie looked up from her work, her face pale. "Do you think it's still out there? That predator?" Mia hesitated before answering. "We don't know, but if it is, we can't let our guard down." Meanwhile, aboard the Iron Resolve *, Lieutenant Ryan Cole reported everything to Commander Laura Hayes. Her expression remained calm, but her fingers tapped nervously against the armrest of her chair. The situation was escalating faster than anyone had expected. "This changes things," Laura said after a moment. "If that creature is still on board the alien ship, or worse, if there are more of them, we're dealing with something far beyond a rescue mission. We need to assess the threat level." Ryan nodded. "Should we destroy the alien ship? It might be the safest option." Laura shook her head. "Not yet. If those survivors know something about that creature, or if there's technology on that ship that could help us understand it, we can't risk losing that information. For now, we keep our distance and monitor the situation." Back on the Eagle's Claw *, the team gathered in the briefing room to discuss their next move. The atmosphere was tense, with everyone aware of the danger they faced. Eric, the engineer, spoke first. "The alien ship's systems are advanced, way beyond anything we've seen. But they're damaged. If we want answers, we'll have to go back in." "Are you serious?" Lisa blurted out, her voice sharp. "After what happened? That thing nearly killed us." "I'm not saying it'll be easy," Eric replied calmly. "But if we stay here and do nothing, we're no better than cowards. Besides, those survivors might hold the key to understanding what's going on." Mia considered his words carefully. She knew he was right, but the thought of returning to the alien ship made her stomach churn. Still, they couldn't abandon the mission, not when lives were at stake. "We'll go back," Maya said finally, her voice firm. "But this time, we'll be ready. We'll bring more weapons, more supplies, and we'll set up a perimeter around the docking bay. If that thing shows up again, we'll be ready for it." The team nodded, though their faces betrayed their unease. They all knew the risks, but none of them backed down. As preparations began for another trip to the alien ship, Alex Carter back on Haven 7 worked tirelessly to decode the symbols and the SOS signal. Hours passed, and just as frustration began to creep in, a breakthrough came. The fragments of the message started to make sense. "Their coordinates," Alex whispered to himself, his eyes wide with realization. "The SOS isn't just a plea for help, it's pointing us somewhere." He immediately contacted the fleet, relaying the discovery. Laura listened intently, her mind racing with possibilities. If the signal was leading them somewhere, it meant there was more to this story than they had initially thought. "This could be a trap," Ryan warned cautiously. "Or it could be our only chance to stop whatever's behind this," Laura replied. "Prepare the fleet. We're following the coordinates." The decision sent a ripple of tension through the crew, but there was no turning back now. The mission had shifted from a simple rescue operation to something far greater and far more dangerous. Whatever awaited them at the end of those coordinates, they would face it together. The fleet followed the coordinates Alex had decoded, moving deeper into the Kalian expanse. The journey was tense, with every crew member on high alert. The memory of the creature aboard the alien ship lingered in their minds, a constant reminder of the danger they faced. Commander Laura Hayes ordered all ships to maintain tight formation, weapons powered up and ready for anything. As they approached the destination, the sensors picked up something unusual, a massive structure floating in the void of space. It wasn't a natural formation. It was artificial, shaped like a ring with intricate patterns etched across its surface. The design was alien yet strangely familiar, resembling the symbols they had seen inside the derelict ship. "This has to be what the SOS signal was pointing us toward," Maya said as she studied the structure from the *Eagle's Claw*. Her voice was steady, but her hands gripped the control panel tightly. Laura's voice crackled over the comms. "We're holding position here. No one goes near that thing until we know more." Jake worked quickly at his station, running scans on the structure. The data came back fragmented, but one thing was clear. It was ancient, far older than any human or alien technology they had encountered before. Its purpose, however, remained a mystery. "What do you think it is?" Sophie asked, standing beside Jake. She glanced at the glowing patterns on the ring, her expression uneasy. "It could be a gateway," Jake replied thoughtfully. "Or maybe some kind of weapon. Hard to say without getting closer." Eric leaned forward, studying the readings. "Whatever it is, it's still active. Look at those energy signatures. They're fluctuating like it's powering up." Before anyone could respond, the structure began to change. The glowing patterns brightened, pulsing rhythmically like a heartbeat. Then, with a sudden flash of light, a swirling vortex appeared in the center of the ring. It shimmered with colors that seemed to shift and dance, pulling at the eyes of anyone who looked too long. "That's not good," Lisa muttered, gripping her weapon instinctively. Laura's voice came over the comms again, sharp and commanding. "All ships, fall back to a safe distance. I repeat, fall back now." But before the fleet could retreat, another signal emerged from the vortex itself. This time, it wasn't a plea for help. It was a warning. "Do not enter," the message repeated, translated automatically by the ship's systems. "Danger awaits." Mia frowned, her mind racing. If this thing is dangerous, why did the SOS lead us here? "Maybe it's a trap," Ryan suggested grimly from the Iron Resolve *. "Whoever sent the signal might have been trying to lure others into this." "But what about the survivors?" Sophie asked, her voice trembling slightly. "They said something was hunting them. Could this be connected?" No one had an answer. The questions only deepened the unease spreading through the fleet. After hours of debate, Laura made a difficult decision. "We need to send a probe through the vortex," she announced. "It's too risky to go in blind, but we can't ignore this either." A small drone was launched from the Stellar Dawn *, its cameras and sensors transmitting live footage back to the fleet. As it entered the vortex, the screen filled with static for a moment before clearing. What they saw left everyone speechless. Beyond the vortex was a world unlike anything they had ever imagined. Towering spires of crystal-like material stretched into a sky filled with multiple suns. The landscape glowed faintly, casting an ethereal light over everything. But scattered across the ground were remnants of destruction, wreckage that matched the design of the alien ship. And then they saw movement. Creatures similar to the ones they had rescued moved cautiously among the ruins, their bodies battered and bruised. They weren't alone, though. In the distance, shadows shifted unnaturally, growing larger as they crept closer. "The Predator," Maya whispered, her voice barely audible. Before anyone could react, the transmission cut off. The probe was gone, destroyed by something fast and powerful. Laura turned to her crew, her expression resolute. "That confirms it. Whatever is hunting those creatures is real. And it's here. We can't leave them behind." The fleet prepared for what might be their most dangerous mission yet. Armed with new knowledge and determination, they knew they were stepping into the unknown. But if they didn't act, countless lives, including their own, might be lost. The countdown to enter the vortex began. None of them knew what lay ahead, but they were ready to face it together. The fleet hovered near the glowing vortex, its swirling colors casting an eerie light across the ships. The crew prepared for what might be their most dangerous mission yet. Commander Laura Hayes gave the order to send a small team through the vortex, but this time, they wouldn't rely on drones or machines. It had to be people who could think, adapt, and fight if necessary. Captain Mia Thompson led the team, accompanied by Jake, Sophie, Eric, and Lisa. They suited up in reinforced armor, equipped with advanced weapons and tools. Each member carried not just supplies, but also the weight of knowing they might not return. Before stepping into the shuttle that would take them to the vortex, Mia gathered the group for a final briefing. "We don't know what's waiting for us on the other side," she said firmly. "But we do know one thing. We're not leaving until we've done everything we can to help those survivors. Stay sharp, stay together, and trust each other." The team nodded, their faces tense but determined. As the shuttle approached the vortex, the swirling colors grew brighter, almost hypnotic. For a moment, it felt like the entire universe was pulling them forward. Then, with a sudden rush, they passed through. On the other side, the world unfolded before them, a breathtaking yet haunting landscape. Towering crystal spires stretched endlessly into a sky lit by 3 suns, casting shifting shadows over the ground. The air shimmered faintly, as if alive with energy. But amidst the beauty lay destruction. Wreckage from alien ships littered the terrain, some partially buried in the glowing soil. The remnants told a story of conflict and loss. "Stay close," Maya ordered, her voice steady despite the awe-inspiring sight around them. "We need to find those survivors." They moved cautiously, scanning the area. Soon, they spotted movement ahead. Figures darted between the ruins, small groups of insectoid creatures, their bodies battered and weary. One of them noticed the team and let out a series of clicks. Moments later, several of the creatures approached cautiously, their large eyes wide with fear and hope. "They're injured," Sophie said, already moving toward them. She knelt beside one of the creatures, examining its wounds. "We need to get them medical attention." As Sophie worked, Jake activated his translation device. After a moment, the creature's clicks turned into broken words. "You came." "Yes," Jake replied. "We heard your call. Who's hunting you?" The creature hesitated, its body trembling. "Shadowborn. They come from dark, consume all." Before Jake could ask more, a low growl echoed in the distance. The survivors froze, their antennae twitching nervously. Then, without warning, the shadows around them began to shift unnaturally, coalescing into shapes that moved faster than anyone could react. "It's here," Lisa shouted, raising her weapon. The Shadowborn emerged, multiple sleek, monstrous figures with glowing red eyes and razor-sharp claws. They moved like liquid darkness, blending into the environment before striking with terrifying speed. The team opened fire, their shots hitting the creatures but doing little damage. The Shadowborn roared, their voices vibrating through the air like a physical force. "Fall back," Mia yelled, grabbing Sophie and pulling her away from the injured aliens. "We can't fight them head-on." The team retreated, firing as they went. The Shadowborn pursued relentlessly, their movements too fast to predict. Just when it seemed like they were cornered, a loud, piercing screech filled the air. A massive alien ship descended from the sky, its weapons firing beams of light that drove the Shadowborn back. "Who's that?" Eric asked, shielding his eyes from the glare. "I don't know," Maya replied, her voice tight. "But right now, they're our best chance." The alien ship landed nearby, and a group of insectoid beings emerged, larger and more armored than the survivors. One of them stepped forward, addressing the team in halting but clear words. "Come, quickly. We will protect you." Without hesitation, the team followed, helping the injured survivors aboard the alien ship. As they lifted off, the Shadowborn watched from below, their glowing eyes fading into the darkness. Back aboard the fleet, The rescued aliens shared fragments of their story. The Shadowborn were ancient predators, unleashed by the very structure the humans had discovered. Now, it was up to the fleet to decide their next move. Destroy the vortex, or risk everything to stop the Shadowborn once and for all. The alien ship carried the team and the survivors back to the fleet, where Commander Laura Hayes waited anxiously. The insectoid beings, who called themselves the Veil, explained their plight through broken but heartfelt words. They were explorers, scientists who had discovered the ancient structure, the gateway, that led to their world. But in their curiosity, they had awakened the Shadowborn, predators that thrived in darkness and consumed everything in their path. The vortex must be closed, one of the Veil leaders said, his voice trembling with urgency. If it remains open, the Shadowborn will spread beyond this place and into your worlds. Laura listened carefully, her mind racing. Closing the vortex seemed like the safest option, but doing so would trap the Shadowborn on the other side and leave the surviving Veil stranded in a world overrun by predators. Destroying the vortex entirely might stop the threat, but it could also doom the Veil's species forever. What happens if we destroy the vortex? Maya asked, stepping forward. Her expression was calm, but her hands were clenched tightly at her sides. It will collapse, the Veil leader replied. But it may also anger the Shadowborn further. They will seek another way out, and they are clever. Laura turned to Ryan, her trusted advisor. What do you think? Ryan hesitated before answering. We can't risk leaving the vortex open. If the Shadowborn escape, they'll be impossible to stop. But destroying it outright might not be enough. We need to fight them here, now, while we still have a chance. The decision weighed heavily on Laura. She looked at the faces of her crew, each one showing determination despite the fear in their eyes. Finally, she nodded. We'll close the vortex, but not before dealing with the Shadowborn. We'll give the Veil a chance to survive. The fleet prepared for battle. Armed with weapons designed to disrupt energy signatures, they returned to the world beyond the vortex. The Shadowborn were waiting, their glowing red eyes watching from the shadows as the ships descended. The air crackled with tension as the humans and Veil worked together, setting up barriers of light and energy to weaken the predators. The battle was fierce. The Shadowborn attacked relentlessly, their forms shifting and blending into the darkness. But the combined forces of the fleet and the Veil fought back with everything they had. Explosions lit up the sky as beams of light clashed with the creatures' dark forms. Slowly, the Shadowborn began to fall, their bodies dissolving into nothingness. As the last of the predators disappeared, the team moved quickly to seal the vortex. Jake and Eric worked together, planting charges around the structure while Lisa and Sophie kept watch. The countdown began, the seconds ticking away like a heartbeat. Let's go, Mia shouted, urging everyone back toward the shuttle. They barely made it out in time. As the charges detonated, the vortex collapsed in a burst of light and energy, sealing the Shadowborn away forever. The world fell silent, the eerie glow of the crystals dimming as if mourning the loss. Back aboard the fleet, the Veil thanked the humans for their bravery. Though their home was scared and their people few, they vowed to rebuild. You have given us hope, the Veil leader said, bowing deeply. We will never forget what you have done. As the fleet left the Kalian expanse, the crew sat in quiet reflection. They had faced unimaginable danger, made sacrifices, and forged alliances with an alien species. Though they had saved countless lives, they knew their journey was far from over. In the vastness of space, mysteries still lingered, and humanity was ready to face them, together.